Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Aitken, and on this show each week we try and identify the particular element of an upcoming race in Hong Kong that we might look back on later as having decided the outcome. On Sunday at Sha Tin, the first race we're going to have a look at is race 6. The winning factor here, the distance. Now let's take a look down the field for this Class 4, and the runners of interest here are the last start winners Perfect Pair and E-Star, Zach Purton's mount, Happy Alumni, stepping up to what looks a more suitable distance, and then down to the foot of the weights is My Winner, coming back in distance after a steady diet of mile events. Now the most interesting of the runners here, I think, are horses like Perfect Pair, E-Star, Happy Alumni and My Winner, and Happy Alumni keeps making a mess of the jump in his races, so we're going to relegate him out of the top 3. And we're going to look more closely here at My Winner. Or more particularly, we're going to have a close look at his sire, Denman. Now, as a racehorse, Denman had 12 starts, 9 wins and a third, and the only 2 times he was out of a place is when he stepped out beyond 1400 metres, and that seems to be playing out, as you can see, in the stud career that he's having as well. Now, first of all, we're having a look at the sons of Denman who've raced in Hong Kong, and you can see that there are quite a few winners here. They've won 25 races. But if we have a look at a different set of statistics for those same horses and we strip out the runs beyond 1400 metres, we get a much better result. Now, with the strike rate rising several points, and if we have a look at Denman's stats around the world, you can see that something similar plays out there. He's a much better stallion when it's a race of 1400 metres or less. So I think that's an important consideration here for My Winner. Now let's have a look at what My Winner's been doing, and firstly to race 493, his most recent start, 1650 metres at Happy Valley. And on this occasion he had a little bit of bad luck around about the 500 metres. Another horse was squeezed up and My Winner was shuffled back in the race. But overall, it's pretty much what we've seen of him in these mile races. He presents in the straight with a chance to get in the finish, but he just really can't close the deal, and that's what we've been seeing from him over his last 6 starts at 1600 metres or thereabouts. But now we're going to go back early in the season, race 95 in fact, and we're going to have a look at what we see from My Winner over a shorter distance, this time 1400 metres, and he completely blows the start here. That's not something we normally see from him, so I think it's been a one-off. But he messes up the start, he's a clear last, but watch him as he finishes strongly here over the final stages to get into third in a very big performance. Now, I think that was a one-off with the start there. We wouldn't expect to see him back that far on Sunday by any means. And I think it's also a salutary lesson that not all horses that run on strongly at 1400 metres really need further. So the tip in race 6, My Winner. His winning factor, the distance. I think we're going to see him true to his sire Denman here and be strong at the finish of 1400 metres instead of being a bit weak at the finish of the mile recently. The second race we're going to have a look at on Sunday is race 8. Winning factor here, the weights. Now when I look at this field for the Class 3, I think the runners which attract the most attention are Zhang Yin, a lightly raced horse from Frankie Law's yard, and John Size trained Chairman Low. So let's take a look at what they've been doing. And Zhang Yin, he ran a nice eye-catching race at his first Hong Kong start before the race that we're going to look at now on March 17, race 505, when he finished third and improved a bit at his second run for Frankie Low. So let's have a look at race 505. Zhang Yin is nestled away in midfield. He's got light blue colours on the rail, and you'll see he gets a little bit keen in the middle stages, fighting Karis Teton when the pace slows, but he runs on well to get third in the final stages. 4 races earlier on the same day we saw Chairman Low, and he's the grey in the orange colours, this time a Class 4. And as you'll see here, he's ridden a little further back this time, but he finds the line very strongly behind Craig Starr over the same distance and runs the 4th second placing of his brief career. So how do we compare those two efforts? Well, the fact that it was the same day over the same distance certainly makes it a lot easier, and we're going to have a look at the heat maps for their individual performances that day. Now, if you have a look here, you'll see that both of them carried the same weight. Zhang Ying made his strongest move coming around the home turn to the home straight. In fact, the circle from the 800 metres to the 400 metres, and then didn't quite sustain his effort in the run home, perhaps as a result of that over racing we saw. While Chairman Lowe, who's hard fit and very experienced now, didn't make any mistakes, and he sustained a run with a faster final section. So now we come to their meeting this Sunday, and as you saw there, they carried the same weights on that day. And now there is 15 pounds between them, even with Joe Moreira's 1 pound forecast overweight on Chairman Lowe. So that's a big swing back to the grey. But as I mentioned earlier, that was a Class 4. He now goes into Class 3 without having won a race. Now, if we look at these stats, you'll know that up in grade off a win is an angle I really like in Hong Kong racing. Up in grade without winning, not quite as strong, and we're looking specifically here at Class 4 into Class 3, and the winning strike rate does drop sharply when the horse going up in grade has not won, and that is going to work against Chairman Lowe to some extent. But to me, the weight drop looks the more significant factor, the winning factor in fact, and so the tip in race 8, Chairman Lowe, his winning factor, the weights. Although he is up in grade without winning, he does get a sharp weight drop, and as we saw the comparative times for their two performances, he and Zhang Ying on March 17, there really wasn't a huge amount between them, possibly even in favour of Chairman Lowe, who's now getting weight off his rival. Well, that's it for the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.